Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society, and nothing here is ever to be construed as hate, medical, nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on the RealPublicRadio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History.
The missing dimension in world politics is the spiritual dimension. The problems of life cannot be solved by material means. Modern civilization is missing the point of life. Human life is meant for understanding spiritual values. Real knowledge is knowing yourself, what you are, what God is, and understanding your relationship and duty to God. It is our duty to understand God, abide by His laws, and learn to love Him. Then all of our problems will be solved. When men are not governed by God, they will be ruled by tyrants. The material world is just like a prison. The spirit soul is imprisoned in a material body which is imprisoned in the material world. We do not belong in this material world. We are spirit souls and belong to the spiritual world. Modern civilization is wrongly directed to the fulfillment of sense gratification, the basis of material life and a barrier to spiritual realization. The demonic believe that the enjoyment of the senses is the ultimate goal of life. However, it is not possible to become peaceful and happy in the attempt to gratify the temporary senses. The result is usually the opposite. A materialistic culture based on sense gratification agitates the mind and senses. Unless one controls the mind and senses, one cannot make any spiritual advancement. The great sages of all bona fide religions were completely free of material attachments because they knew that spirit is permanent while matter is temporary. Our present culture would have us debase ourselves and become more and more entangled in materialism so that the path to the spiritual world is blocked. The demonic wish to make this planet a closed system where it cannot function for the purpose it was intended. The material world was created to give man the opportunity to purify himself of his material consciousness, for the aim of life is to go back home, back to God. The demonic cannot go back home until they rid themselves of their demonic mentality, and so they wish to make it impossible for anyone else to return home. This is the ultimate goal of psychological warfare, to entangle man in materialism so that he cannot return home, back to the Supreme Lord. Mind control in America. BRIGHTEON.
And welcome to Forbidden History Live, the series, ladies and gentlemen, on Ask Desert Owl and the Original Thought Transliteration Project. And I am your host, Desert Owl. And want to welcome any new listeners and our new friend there in Deutschland, Germany. I'd probably butcher the name, but Zeus Clover. It's about as close as I can get to it. And they messed with the German too, so it's not like the original thought that we're presenting here, but definitely has some original thought in it, like in Jawohl. Jawohl, that's part of the Jawohlheim, the name of the sovereign, the great mountain of endless fire. And so good to have you. And tell your friends, okay. After all, you wanted to know, right? I mean, come on. And want to wish everyone a good New Year as well. And my name is Marion okay, Marion, good to have you. And we have some German friends out there as well. We're all in the same boat. That's the thing. But we were trying to get on New Year's Day. We had a glitch, and so we didn't get to do New Year's Day. So I just want to wish everyone the best for the coming year, but it doesn't look very good for our future. And there's a bunch of people that are running the world, and they have it in for us, just like they brought over uh, several thousand cells of other people from other parts of the world that are on a mission, and America looks like the mission. And so yeah, it's started out real bad with the attacks on people in Germany, and then the attacks over here on people when they were doing Christmas shopping in Germany, and then over here on about 2 days ago in New Orleans, again another truck. What a cowardly way to act. It's the biggest coward. It's the biggest dreg of any bottom of any lagoon you could ever want to find that would run men, women, and children over. I mean, it would be more honorable for them to blow their head off, but to run people over. Uh, th- Certainly, these people have been under mind control, because this wouldn't is no way normal behavior. Yeah, yeah, Miriam, I'm reading your comment here. It's a tragedy certainly anywhere, but these are the people that have created, the people running the world are the ones that have created all the mayhem. And there's nothing natural about any of it. And MK Ultra, yeah. And so we're all victims of it, and we have to deal with it. So we have the good news here, though, of course, is we try to point up and let you know this is not our world. And so we have a read we're going to do from Gaskell, a couple of definitions, and then after that, we'll get into a short read on symbols, and I open it with those intellectual reads because people need to be able to read for themselves. But the problem is they have never um, been in tune with like the real symbolism behind all the scriptures. These are stories, but yet there's another story behind the story, but you can't get it unless you can interpret the words and the meaning of the symbols. So it's a science, and so that's our problem. We don't know how to read, and so we show you how to read on this program from uh, the the um, the metaphor, the allegory, the symbol, and then also the original thought, which is the original Arche Malik, or what is corrupted into Aramaic Arche Malik, the original, and it means the mother's voice in the archive from the beginning. And so then after we do symbols, we're going to do the Masonic Talmudic Priests of Babylon expose from that classic work I got from the 1800s on Nisan Nassar. And to show you how these people really were, actually, I had a really interesting read just today on one page I was going to read out of it, and already in there, it admitted that the priests in Jerusalem were of a foreign culture, and that foreign culture it was referring to, of course, was Babylon. So they were Babylon, they were Talmudic, they were Assyrian, they were Babylonian that were running Jerusalem. That's why they killed him. They had no interest in a Mashiach. Okay, I hope I can keep my voice going here today. We hadn't done it in over 8 days now, and I'm already feeling it. So I'm going to have to pace myself. Then we've got forgotten words. I've got several words. I'm going to define Eden. I actually looked at it as an anagram for the first time yesterday, and I was amazed. Actually, I did it when I got up. I think I got up today, and I just looked at it while, laying there on my pillow, and I realized it really tells you where Eden is at, but it's not where you want to be, because you want to be in the atom. So we'll talk about that, and then I have a really special read I've been reviewing, thanks to Damien in Australia. I've been reviewing the Lost Gospel of Barnabas, and even though it's got some mistranslations in it, hold on a minute. It's got some mistranslations in it, probably due to priesthood, and then maybe a couple others just by the ability to translate that could have been done better, misinterpreted. But overall, this Gospel of Barnabas is actually superior to Matthew, Mark, and Luke in our received scriptures, and the reason is because I'm going to show you. I'm going to close out with that sample read of it, and I'll show you how it actually elaborates and has the more complete verse of the scriptures that are in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. I don't include John because John is a different gospel, more of a symbolic, esoteric gospel than the exoteric type that were telling the story of Yeshua walking, on earth in a way, and going from city to city. So it's a different read. And so, but this Gospel of Barnabas, I'm telling you, it will fill in the gaps, okay, where you've been reading the scriptures all your life, and you say, oh, that's what it means. Okay, yeah, and here, so this is the proof. This is the proof that Barnabas is a source gospel, and I already have over a dozen gospels, so it really proves out that even Barnabas, he wasn't what we call an apostle. More correctly, I use the term legate for delegation, legate, and they were walking with their legs, the legates, going through the gate everywhere they went, and so it would make sense that there should be a dozen gospels when you had each one of them going to a different part of the world, and that they would take their scriptures with them. So too much time in between now and then, and we'll never know. But the limitation that people have put on themselves by saying, well, no, there's only 4 gospels, because that's the way it's supposed to be. That's what the Roman Empire gave us. So, they must be true. Oh yeah, the Roman Empire. So, but anyway, the proof is in, reading them. You got to read them, even if you think they're false, to prove it out. But I've got some that it's like nobody's heard of them, because I got them off an obscure shelf out of, Oxford or Cambridge, in the UK, and they purposely mistranslate them so that nobody would want to read them. They usually do it at the beginning, and so nobody would want to, look at what it's saying here. Okay, but that's how they divert you. They're very clever. They don't have to mess up the entire book. They just mess up part of it in the front, and then you're thinking, well, okay, well, this must be a piece of garbage, and it's not true. So you have to read it all to be. And I read half the Quran, not because I wanted to be Islamic, but because I wanted, if I'm going to talk about it, then I need to know about it, and we need to know the cultures. I read half the Book of Mormon, and it's interesting story, but I don't follow that tradition. I have enough on my plate with the lost writings and and our received scriptures, and I've read the other traditions. I've read the trial of Socrates. I've read the story of Buddha. All of them, not because I wanted to be part of that tradition, but I wanted to. You have to know about culture, like an anthropologist, and study mythologies. I've studied mythologies from around the world, and what that does is it helps you then to see a commonality within thought. It was the Native American mythology that helped me to finally get, because whenever I heard that they said Adam and red Earth, I knew we weren't made from the dirt. Come on, give me a break. Red dirt. We're made from dirt. And so it was an enigma because I didn't know what to think of it. But when I read a mythological story of creation out of the Native American Native American tribe up here in North America, I don't remember which one it was, but they had the myth of the blood clot boy. The first man was called Blood Clot Boy, and when I read that, it was like bingo, I get it. And then because it's blood clot, what is that? It's lava. That's what it's talking about. The blood of the earth. That's what Adam really means. The blood of the earth. He was born. He was made from the purified, from the fire of the minerals and salts of the earth, from the mother's breast, the volcano. And that's what we find actually in the second chapter of Genesis that said the fountain gushed forth, but it wasn't what is the fountain? You see, because the water was already here, the oceans were already here. And the fountain was the volcano gushing forth, because the very next thing you get in the story is Adam. And so the volcano came onto the land, flowed into the water, and then Elohim took the Adam and put him on the land. Part of the story is also in the Nag Hammadi library, another revelation of John, and when you read that, you hear the more graphic illustration of how this all occurred. So let's ask the question: is there another scripture with the volcano in it in our scriptures? Yeah, yeah, it's at the end of the book in Revelations, and it said that everybody that doesn't make it to transcend to the light above, that goes back into the lake that burns with fire and brimstone. That's a volcano. Brimstone is the edge of a volcano's mouth. Brimstone. You see? So we start with the volcano at the beginning of the story. We are made from the purified minerals and sorts of the Mother Earths, and then at the end, if we don't make it back, we go back into the mixing pot. You see, and are dissolved within, but not your spirit, because our spirit is eternal. So where are you going to go if you can't go back to the light? Think about it. I think you hang out right here in darkness, don't you? In this void of emptiness. So anyway, got long-winded there and didn't plan on that, but I think that was worthwhile. And so we got it. Oh, and one more thing, my good friend Jeff out there in the UK, he's got about four YouTube channels. The one with the straw man, or I can't remember the name of his programs, because they keep salty straw man with a colon and a hyphen, I think. And then he's got a couple others, and he had Join the Dots, but David Icke stole that from him. And so he confirmed for me 2 days ago that he can't leave comments anymore on our programming. And the reason I gave and Maria's not here tonight. I just realized that. And I gave her a blue wrench because she couldn't make any comments. They were all disappearing. And so if you're trying to make comments, I would appreciate it if you'd try making a comment after the program. And if you can't, then let us know either by email or give me a phone call, or tell me in the chat on the next program that you can't, make, because it looks to me like they've made it so that I was wondering, I'm thinking, we're getting, some of our programs have over almost 3,000. We got a couple near 3,000. Actually would be over if they didn't keep removing our numbers, over 3,000, but a couple of them with 2,000 and a few with 1,000. And keep removing and we got numbers, no comments, over 3,000. And it's like, that doesn't happen. And I knew there was a problem. And then finally Jeff led on that he's been trying to make comments and he can't do it. Maria couldn't do it. And so apparently that's the case. So if you prove it out for us, if you enjoy the programming, we're getting it left and right. The numbers aren't right. They reduce them all the time, the viewing numbers, and they right when we're going to go on live, they immediately switch it out from 1 minute, boom, to beyond in 45 minutes. Sorry, and that's not us. They're doing that to us because they're I guess they don't like us, go figure. So you know who is at the helm there. Okay, so and we forgive them. We're gonna keep on anyway, and let them play their games. And also, I got my other note here: subscribers. You know, we've like no subscribers when all of these programs we did just recently got upwards of a couple thousand plus, near 3,000 viewers, and no additional subscribers. That don't happen either, you know, because it's natural for people to subscribe just to watch a few programs, you know, to see where we're going, and then they can unsubscribe later. But we don't get that. And Ninja proved that out last week on the last program, because she gets emails that confirm that they were subscribing, but it wasn't showing up on the board, you know, on the register here. So so that's what we're doing. You know, we're toughing it out with people that hate our guts, and well, we're told to love them. I feel sorry for them. You know, I feel sorry for them because they bought into the biggest lie of them all, that they're better than everyone else, and that we're goyim and useless eaters and slaves. When we're all no matter what color you are, what shape you are, how big you are, how small you are, we're all inside the same. We have a spirit. We are not the body. That's the illusion. And so they think because they're go back to a Babylonian, Assyrian cultures, that they're superior. It's only because they've been given a jackboot and a club to beat up the rest of the world and wage war on mankind that they're feeling so important and so powerful. But they don't realize when they breathe their last breath, then they will meet their moment of truth and find out how they bit into the biggest lie there ever was, that they're special, and that they don't have to honor the sovereign of the universe, that they can call themselves widows' sons and admit that they're bastards and they don't have a father. The word father, which is Abba, but Abba is a corruption for Ava, and it's acknowledged that in this the Hebrew Old Testament, the word father isn't mentioned once. Ava, another form of the word father, but not Ava, which is really mother father, and it's not mentioned, and that's because they hate the father. That's the philosophy of Freemasonry, and they pretend religion, but they claim themselves to be demigods, and that there's no superior above them. Okay, so they're in for a rude awakening. I feel sorry for them. All right, so we're going to go to a break real quick in my throw to rest, and then when we get back, we'll go into Gaskell, and we do have a call in. Anytime after we come back, if you want to call in with a comment or a question, we can take a call. The phone number is, I don't think Ninja put it in there. Well, it's right there on the board. But for anyone who's only listening to an audio for some reason, 740-936-7720. That's 740-936-7720. Okay, and so when we come back, we'll be bringing on a little bit of what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here, because somebody's got to do it. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Glad you tuned in.
Your teeth won't need your ever knew. Now man's reign is through, but through eternal night, the twinkling of starlight, so very far away, maybe it's only yesterday. In the year 2525, if man is still alive, if woman can survive, they may find.
All right, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the broadcast. And yeah, whenever a program is dropped for some reason, because we cut that song off, because even though we're allowed to play the song according to the terms and conditions, then they're telling Ninja in the back office that we're not supposed to play the song. And so this is another thing that they do to us just to take advantage of us. And so if the program were dropped, we would go then be reposting it on the other channel, the sister channel, Forbidden History Archive. And as a last resort, we'd be putting it on Odyssey.com, Odyssey, Odyssee, and Forbidden History Archive over there as well, and also Forbidden History Live. Okay, so anyway, we got to move and shake with the terrorist, and that you know, they've got it in for the planet, you know that. And this looks like their year. The reason I played that song, was the 25-25 element, because really it's clear to me that that song was really pointing to 2025 when they said it that way. What does it say? In the year 25-25, if man is still alive, if woman can survive. So there, it's that element is right there. And because then the other part that proves it out, because they just in the song gave us 100,000, practically 100,000 years worth of time, right? But then what do they say at the end of the song? Now it's been 10,000 years, man has cried a billion tears. Well, 10,000 years, that's actually the time approximate when the Aryan uh, race that enslaved mankind, a la these Ashkenazi Jews today who are ancient Babylonian Assyrian, that's how long they've been doing it to mankind, you see? And so, yeah, it's really amazing. They control the media, they control the songs, the movies, and what can I say, ladies and gentlemen? And the world is so devilish, right? And they're the devils, Marion. They're the devils. So anyway, okay, so we're gonna pick it up in Gaskell. I just love this. I've had this dictionary for about 50 years, uh, at least 45, I'd say, and and it's just deep. I'm like, how did this guy make this dictionary without a computer? And I figure he must have lived across the street from a library, because how could anybody catalog from all of these different resources, uh, ancient scriptures and what have you, and put it in a giant catalog, 1,000 pages. So we go through the alphabet and pick up the next letter each time we do a program, so we can sift through it, and then we start at the beginning again and continue. So here we're on, where are we in here? Okay, I guess it's the mental plane. This will be one big definition, and we know we got two of them, actually, two of them. Okay, so mental plane. Excuse me. This central plane of divine manifestation is the third plane from above or from below. It is the plane of creation of the forms of the lower planes. The prototypal ideas emanating from the planes above takes form in mental matter on the mental plane and are from thence projected outwardly, like the rays of light, onto the astral and physical planes. In other words, the mental forms are re-embodied on the lower planes in the matter of the planes, thus constituting the material universe. That reminds me, I had something on the duality when I finish this. I'll just touch on that real quick. Okay. I just lost my place. In other words, the mental forms are re-embodied on the lower plane in the matter of the planes, thus constituting the material universe. But from the fact of the interplay and conflict of the forces on the lower planes, the ideas often become obstructed and distorted in their course outwards. That's a fact. So, excuse me, so that the result on the physical plane is anything but perfect. This applies to animal, vegetal, and crystal forms, which are growths from within outwards, but not, of course, to accidental and constructed formations, which are the result of fracture and movement from place to place. The mental plane, like other planes, is atomic. It is structure, transmitting vibrations which are far more subtle and rapid than those occurring on lower planes. The extension of the mental plane through space is proved by the fact of telepathy. It is also proved by the spatial images in our own minds. If we imagine a triangular shaped object, we perceive its dimensions in space on the mental plane. We are almost constantly creating thought forms which last for a time and then dissipate. Spirit, though, spirit, thought, emotion, desire, force cannot manifest without the matter of the planes of being. A philosophy which overlooks the primal duality of spirit and matter and is lost in the vagueness and delusion. See air, elements, fragments, Mahashan, Mahat, monad, life form, prototype, and worlds. And this dovetails real good with what I was going to say at the beginning of the program, and I overlooked it. There are there are two creations. What we're dealing with are two creations, and so it creates the symbolism because we see it obviously in nature. And so we have light and dark, and therefore one is higher. The higher creation is obviously the light, and the lower creation is in the darkness. And then, so in that light and the higher creation, we have the mature, and in the dark lower creation, we have the child. You see, and so these are distinct qualities that we see within, like we see adults who act like children, right? They're just really they have no sensitivity towards others that are injured, or they play games, right? Or they lie, or they cheat, or they, do every kind of insane thing on this planet, wage war on mankind. And so they're in the lower, the dark, and the child. They have not grown up. And in the occultic, the reason they haven't grown up is because they were actually abused when they were very small and put under mind control. So they had been made numb to abuse because they had an abuser. And people that have had the abuser often become the abuser themselves and keep the cycle going. So that's the duality, the light and the dark, the hot and the cold, the in and the out, the male, female. And this is how creation has to be in order to have matter and form. But there is another creation in the light, and that we can hardly speak about because it's beyond this universe. It's beyond the mind, meta. So one more definition here again on the mental. We just did mental plane. Now we're into mental sheath or body of the human being. This is the instrument of the spiritual ego on the lower mental plane. And also we could call it a symbiotic relationship, or as they did it in the movie Stargate, um, that guy who had the serpent inside his belly, Teak, his name was Teak or Tilk, and he had what they called the symbiote. But the symbiote was the serpent, and it was really pointing to us that we are the serpent and that we have a dual nature. One is spirit and one is physical. But the physical is the illusion, and it's the serpent. It's the serpent creation. That's what we're in. Even the sun is regarded as an Ouroboros eating its tail, or a cobra. You know, so that's the distinction again. This duality, that there is two of us, and one of us has to die in order that the other can live. So this is the instrument of the spiritual ego on the lower mental plane. It is formed of mental matter as a vehicle of thought and will. Thought is expressed in forms of thought, and the limitations and images in the mind are constructed of mind stuff or mental matter within the within the mental body. Thought restricted to a particular ego, as is the case with mankind. Excuse me. It is necessarily limited by the forms of. Looks like I've got a call coming in. See if we can get this thing working here. Ninja, are you there? Testing. Okay. Stephen, can you hear Ninja?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. We haven't used this in a while, so we're a little slow at it. But just speak up, Stephen. You're a little low, and we talked earlier just for the program, and so good to have you.
Well, it's nice to be with you.
Great.
And
And
I just want to say good night.
North Carolina.
So,
Yeah, yeah. That's Ninja, and
Hello,
she's upside
Ninja.
down right now, Stephen. It's bad enough for us, but it's worse for them. So you're in North Carolina, and you got a lot. Are you in the mountains over there in the hills, the Appalachians?
No, that's a little further away, mid state.
Okay. So you're above all that then, right? What happened in North Carolina? You're further east,
well,
and you're further north?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't have the destruction that they experienced in the western part of North Carolina.
Right. And so for anybody who's listening in right now and are not familiar, Stephen Jacobson, a longtime friend of mine, I found him on an audio cassette series called Mind Control in America, exposing the strategy to manipulate your mind, and Wake Up America, exposing the deception of modern money, two all-time classics. And I played each of them on my radio broadcast probably near 75 times, and I never got tired of them. Every time I listened to them, I thought I was listening for the first time, because I always hear something like, that you didn't hear last time. And it's just an absolute genius piece of work that you pulled together, Stephen. And so, yeah, I remember driving my 18-wheeler in the heartland of America, going across this narrow gauge bridge, over the river in the darkness. And there I am listening to Stephen Jacobson, Mind Control in America. And it's like I was captivated, and I was a over the road trucker after my divorce, and I went from coast to coast, and I listened to your material and was astounded at how you could pull together all those clips, of Abbott and Costello, or the vocal sounds, and the the all of the stuff you did, and that was really prior to the computer age. But you just knew where to go to get all that stuff, apparently, huh?
Well, I can't take full credit for it because I felt guided in the whole process, and so I was just following instructions.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you've seen our presentation at the opener, right? With how we have Ninja created a pan in. I had the idea of getting a solar system, and then as Stephen was doing that 3-minute clip, we just pan into the center of the sun, and it just worked out really well. She did a good job.
Yes.
So
it's very nice. Thank you for doing that.
absolutely, we're gonna keep you alive, no matter what, Stephen. So this legacy of yours has to continue, and we'll always make it available, and we'll point them in your direction as long as we've got you. And Jennifer out there, Jennifer, well, everybody calls her Jennifer out there in Oklahoma, is okay, but I don't think it is okay. That's what they say anyway. So, so Stephen, what's up? Anything else on your mind tonight that you wanted to touch on real quick?
No, I just wanted to call in, and since we spoke earlier, and this was an opportunity for me to listen to your program.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be on. It just started at 7, so we'll be on probably. We typically do 3 hours, so we'll be on for a little while this evening, unless we have a technical issue or what have you. I'm running on my voice tonight, which is in a way that it's not ever been doing it, because normally it's just I get a little raspy. Right now, I can almost not talk. I'm having to force myself, and it's interesting that I'm having the problem because I don't go out, Stephen, at all, other than to the store twice a month, to the food bank, then to the regular store, and I get what I need. Then I come back and I don't get out. And I had to get out on Friday and walk out to take care of business on my own, and I had to walk, and that's right at the time we're having all this issue with the fog, that people are dealing with, and they're getting sick. And so I'm feeling like I got something right now. Even Maria in the Channel Islands in Jersey is under the weather and not even on the program, and that's not like her. So we've been praying for her and hoping that she's going to recover. But yeah, a lot of people are getting sick right now with what they're dumping with these drones. Apparently, we saw that the fallout coming from the drones, and yeah, not pretty. Science fiction
not
movie.
at all. Yeah,
Are you
very much so.
Are you feeling affected yourself by it?
Gee, that's an interesting question because I have been feeling under the weather a bit, and with no apparent cause for why. And
just within the past week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I try to. I do my best to take care of myself, and I have a regimen of supplements that I take to just help me stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at the time you made Mind Control in America, Stephen, did you actually think that you had a shot with your type of material to turn things around? Like the way I see it today with the bigger picture, I don't think at any time there ever was anything that could turn it around. And I'm more certain now than ever that that they've been doing it for so many hundreds and thousands of years, running mankind into the ground and controlling him, mind controlling him, that I don't think there is any way, shape, or form on Earth, because they control everything, right? From the militaries to the governments to the pharmaceuticals to the television, radio, media, right? Everything, even the religion, right? Everything. So what do they control? If they control everything, then like, you got some armchair jockey over there saying, "Oh man, they're on the run. They're afraid, Stephen. Aren't they afraid?" Like, give me a break. They're afraid when they're running everything. It's the biggest
No,
insane
that's right.
statement. So
Yeah.
yeah. So my question was, did you actually think at that time when you were producing this magnificent work that you could make a difference and that we could wake up and everybody get back to normal living and destroy the beast, or what?
Well, I really didn't think that. It was just I saw things in a particular way, and I wanted to make a difference, and that led to the mind control in America. In fact, it started off mind control in America. I first put together the book Mind Control in the United States. That came out in 1985. And that was my first attempt of putting together a piece that dealt with the issue of mind control. Since it's not a new phenomenon, as you mentioned, that for thousands of years, we have been under the influence of deception, and it carries to today. Problem is that most of us we've been born into a system of lies and deception that have become accepted as being normal, as being the way things are supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they're certainly not. And it was my work that I had done. I was in film. I was a film editor for about 13 years. I studied film at Boston University, and did some sponsored films. And before I went to New York City, and to advance my career. And that's where I honed my skills. And it was while working in film that I saw how manipulative it can be, and the media in general, not just films, but television and radio, that seeing things, I was seeing things from two sides. One as a spectator, and the other as a film professional in using some of these techniques. In fact, in the Mind Control in America audio, it began as a magazine article. And the publisher of the article asked me if I would be if I'd expand it into a book form, and that's where the idea came from. And went ahead and did the work that was necessary for that. And then it was later that I did the audio Mind Control in America, and I used some of the techniques that I discussed, so that the listener has the frame of reference to understand how it all works. And in fact, for many years, I started off with selling the audio cassette. It was done first as an audio cassette, and then followed by Wake Up America, about mind control as it applies to money and economics. The idea is that psychological warfare and economic warfare are both being waged against America. They both work together to create a mindset that, and we're the last people class wants to know, just ordinary John Q. public citizen is not aware of the history behind the use of media as a means of controlling the population. But the audios, that's what I started with. Well, the Mind Control in the United States book, and then that led to Mind Control in America and Wake Up America, the audios, which I no longer sell, but offer them as for free, and that people can listen to them on the web. My website is mindcontrolinamerica.com, mindcontrolinamerica.com, and it has information about the updated book in 2014. You know, it was around 2014. I was contacted by a publisher who had read the Mind Control in the United States book and was interested in reprinting it, and kept after me. And I decided, well, yeah, I'll go along with that, but I wanted to update and add more material. And so and the publisher was agreeable to that. And so that's what I did. Reworked the material. Used basically most of the material from the 1985 book, but then with new developments added new material. And both in the Mind Control in America audio, I use the techniques that I describe, so that the listener has a frame of reference from which to catch these things, to observe them being used in their local media, so that they can protect themselves from undue influence. So that's how it all began. I did radio for, it must have been more than a dozen years. I stopped doing radio. I did a lot of radio for a while. And then I stopped to, I stopped to do more work on my spiritual practice, recognizing that the issue was really a spiritual issue, that I needed to devote myself to that for a while. Mm-hmm. So that's I haven't done radio in a long time. My talking to you now, it's been at least 10 years, 12 years since I've done radio. And I've gotten a little rusty, but nothing has changed as far as the both audios, Mind Control in America and Wake Up America, are as relevant today as they ever were. In fact, maybe even more so, because the problem of mind control has only gotten worse than when I started this investigation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess to, go back to my initial question, did you think it could possibly wake enough people up to save the world, so to speak, but the other side of it is that the importance of this material is that it can wake us up, and therefore let us know how the game is played, so that we don't have to be fooled anymore. And I used to have a saying when I got into this arena and was studying all this stuff, that I don't care how bad it is, just give me, tell me what it is, tell me what's going on, and then I'll learn how to deal with it. Because at least if we know the waterfall is over there and we're going over, at least I want to know it's going to happen ahead of time so that I could get my life right and, and do the things that I need to do that are most important, before we hit the wall. And that's enough,
Yeah.
to know the truth is to be set free, at least mentally, not that you can physically escape their ultimate plan for all of us, but that we can be set free inwardly and make our peace with our maker, and learn the good news that this is not our world and there's a better world that we can discover right here, right now, and it's the invisible world, the higher world above.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really the mind control issue is first and foremost a spiritual issue, because the mind, well, that's the battlefield.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And what the way we do this 3-minute cap off with your close on mind control in America, we open our program with it, and it's the ultimate cap off of you start out with the true purpose of government, and which is, not to manipulate us, but to just manage commerce mainly. And, but the true purpose of our spirituality, you get into that. And I'm like, how did he ever manage to pull this together to say it so perfectly, that I'm always astounded, Stephen. So was there one particular, Eastern tradition that affected you more than others, where you got that truth? I know you had, the Aquarian Gospel years ago yourself. You had, Christian type materials, but I find you, because I've tried asking you before, like in different ways, from your spiritual background, and I never, and so I, like, you're an enigma in that, you're private, so I don't impose my thoughts, on you. But I always want to try to figure out, what was is there one tradition like Zoroaster, with Zoroaster, or Buddhism or Tibetanism, or where did you get the ability to say it so perfectly? Or you just read everything and it was easy for you to then, after you study, like I'm reading out of Gaskell. I don't know if you heard my first reading I was doing here when you called, but I read Gaskell, and Gaskell goes into all different traditions and brings in the parts from different scriptures, and he collects them, catalogs them in the definition. And so when you read the definition, you read from like 3 or 4 different spiritual traditions, but yet it's a universal thought. It's the same mindset, only with different words, but still the same implication. So was there one tradition, or was it, that you studied a lot of the Eastern philosophies and you could draw on it that way?
Well, I have to attribute it to the higher power in bringing me information, directing my attention to certain information. I did look at different traditions to get a fuller view of the tapestry of the issue, and as far as it was put together, it took time. There was a lot of research and a lot of reading involved, and when I began this investigation, computers were I didn't have most of my information. I got through books in the library, going through directories of periodicals looking for information. I didn't have the benefit of just going on, getting on the internet and looking at these things, because it wasn't available back then.
Yeah.
the information. Now there's a glut of information. There's so much information out there, and it's a matter of did I think that it would save the world? No, I didn't. I just wanted to make just wanted to make a contribution, and so wherever that would take me. The audios again are on the website. You can download it or listen to it for free for those people who are interested in it. And then there's those two audios, and then there's an audio that my father had done. My father was a hypnotherapist, worked as a consultant to the medical profession for more than 20 years. And he had developed an audio that doctors at one time wrote prescriptions for their patients to have the audio for the treatment of different health problems, physical, emotional, mental. And I knew that he was involved in this, but I was working in New York City at the time, and he called and wanted to see me. And his at that time his health was he had some health challenges, and I went back to North Carolina to meet with him, and he asked me if I was interested in taking his work further. That they turn over his research to me, and I saw the implications as far as media was concerned, and I was interested immediately, and so he gave me that material, some spiritual material that he had come across. He gave me that as well, and people were always giving him things, information, or not. He'd work with anyone whether they had the money to pay or not. If he could help someone, he would go ahead and do it. And some people, if they didn't have money, they'd pay him in groceries, give him free groceries. So people were always giving him things, books. Two books he gave me. Someone had given them to me, and that really got me started on the investigation of the whole issue of so-called conspiracy theory, which we know. Anyone who listens to this program will know that and I just lost my train of thought. That does happen.
Yeah, what? In other words, this all led into your two-part audio series of mind control in America. This was the impetus then of that work.
Yes, because the two books that my father had given me. One was None Dare Call It Conspiracy, Gary Allen's seminal book, and then another book called The Occult Technology of Power, a small booklet, and they both had bibliographies, and that's how I started. I went down the bibliography of both those two books, and then started getting materials, looking to see what was available, and so I spent. It was very costly, but I had to see what was available. Some of the information was extremely helpful and well thought out. Other information not so good. So it was a matter of sorting through a lot of material to see what was available, and then to I built up a pretty heavy library, which I recently sold off because it was just too much too much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I saved some of the books that I'm working with now. Back to my father's work briefly. That audio is also on the website mindcontrolinamerica.com. My father's work is highlighted in the link that says personal comfort training. That's what he called his audio, personal comfort training, which is he used to do the program, do it in person until it was put on audio tape, and it made it easier for him to see more people. He could give them the audio rather than having to do it in person each time. And I even used it often when I was first starting with his work. It's a relaxation training exercise, and if someone has problem with just relaxing, it can be a help, and has helped many people deal with different kinds of health problems. And so that's what took up pretty much all of my time while I was investigating this.
Mm-hmm. Outstanding, Stephen. And so as they say, the rest is history. As I say, it's forbidden history, and you never, profited off of this type of work that people like us that got involved in this arena of truth telling and trying to point the finger at the dragon that's taken our world down. We're very much alone, and we don't have hardly any friends, because most people, they can't even begin to appreciate where we are with our research, and mentally, to know where we're going and where we actually are at this very moment within our history. Everybody else is out there thinking about the next ball game, or what they're going to do next year on vacation, and there is no next year. It really looks like this year is going to be a big hammer going down on this 25. We've already had, in Germany, you heard about the car. They drove into a crowd of people, killed a bunch of people, and injured a
Yes.
whole lot more. And then over here now in New Orleans, and this is just the beginning of, I think, what we're about to see here this year. So chaos is going to rule. Order out of chaos. They get the order that they want out of the chaos that they're going to ensue upon all of us. And so congratulations on being a great individual and not getting caught up in that, because you kind of grew up in that culture with those type of people in New York, and all of your studies and everything, that they run all of these organizations, news media, television, and the universities. So you came out of all that. You could have probably been a player if you wanted to, right?
Well, I didn't want to. I wanted to know what the truth was.
Yeah.
And then to share that information with other people. It was never a moneymaker, that was for sure, but it wasn't done with that in mind. I was able to get by, and continue with the work, and which I'm working now on the sequel to Mind Control in the United States. The updated edition was published in 2015, and it's a good summary and overview of the mind control issue, but also the spiritual issue behind it all. So it's the reviews on Amazon are quite good. People found it, the book, helpful, and that's all I wanted it to do, is to help awaken some people to some things that they may not be aware of, because unless we've come across the information before or somebody has told us, how are we going to know?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
by chance.
Right. Well, what I was just thinking of, one of the biggest mind control games is in the what we call the Christian churches, and the technique that they use, Stephen. I'm sure you've looked at it or you're up on it, but when I look at it, I see it. And so they got a preacher up on the stage, and he's probably a Jesuit or a Freemason, and so they start preaching their hallelujah sermon, and then they start waving their arms in the air, and then they start walking back and forth across the stage from left to right, and keep the movement going, so people are having to shift their eyes and keep looking at him rather than him just standing there in front of them. So the activity of the waving the arms and then the back and forth on the stage is in my mind key to getting people under the spell. They don't have time to question it, or just like when you watch a news report, the mainstream news, and then they have stuff moving behind them on the wall, or they have ticker tape readings at the bottom of the screen while they're telling you the news. They got other news coming in on the ticker tape down below, and you can't possibly process all of that at one time. You're either going to listen to them or read what's below, but yet the subliminal is being distracted, and it's putting you under a spell. Like there's a lot of circles, or be typically circles, and they use those bubbles and move them, and that helps to put the psychology of the mind control on you as well. All these different techniques are very subtle, but you see the patterns are consistent when you watch it, right?
Oh yes. The television in particular is an instrument for mass persuasion. It induces a hypnotic state of mind. It doesn't matter what program you're looking at. The technology, the television technology itself induces this altered state of consciousness.
Right. I think in your tape you say it's the flickering light, because it's static. It's not solid in the sense that it's because it's moving, and it's constantly replaying this picture one more time in a stream.
Right, and you're mentioning the lines of copy on the bottom of the screen and movement in the screen itself. These are hypnotic techniques. The patterned speech of a newscaster is very similar to the patterned speech of a hypnotist.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pattern of speaking gets the ear of the listener, catches hold of it, and then does its thing. The information does its thing.
Right. Yeah, the lies and deceit and propaganda that they're shoving down our throats, so we repeat it to our friends, right?
Yeah.
Unreal. Wow. Well, Stephen, you have to get out more often, brother, and don't be a stranger. Anything else here you want to add to the conversation?
No, that's just an intro. So
okay.
We can do it again another time. And it's always good talking with you, Desert. We're cut from the same cloth. We've both taken upon ourselves a mission to to be as helpful as we can. And that's all we can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's a real pleasure and honor to have been hanging out with you for the last 20, 25 years since I got out of my voodoo in the panhandle of West Virginia. And that's when I wrote to you when I got out of my record for the longest case in West Virginia's history, 2 trials. And I walked at the second trial, walked out the front door of the courthouse, but nobody knows what the meaning of being framed is unless you've been framed. Boy, that's a feeling unlike anything when you actually defended somebody's life and they converted into a very heinous crime when they're actually the ones responsible, for the events. And of course, it was another mind control operation. That was a whole nother deal that I fell victim to, and then I contacted you after that, which would have been around 2000 and 2011 happened, so it was right around that time of the Twin Towers coming down. That was about the time I wrote to you, and we connected then maybe by phone, and we stayed in touch. So I'm very honored to be your friend, Stephen, and we're here to serve. And anything we can ever do for you, you always let us know, and always feel free to call in anytime, or if you want to do a special recording that we can then make available to you, for your promotional material or whatever, we can do that as well. Okay.
Sure. I appreciate it, Desert.
You bet. All right. Well, be well out there and watch out for the smog, Stephen. It's rotten in Denmark and it's rotten over here as well. So
yeah,
it's going to get real interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to have to leave you now, but you're going to be on for a few more hours. I'll call in again just to listen to the info.
Right. Do you have a computer you can listen in on?
Yeah.
Okay. So, go to youtube.com, and then you do a search for Ask Dezert-Owl, and it's going to say with NinjaCat, but all you got to type in is Ask Dezert-Owl, and you'll see the black cat in the circle with the picture, one of Ninja's cats, and then you're there. Okay, so can you search for it on YouTube, or have you done that yet?
No, I haven't done that yet, but
I can put the link straight into the Skype chat after the call to make it easier.
Well, he's not on the computer right now, though, Ninja. He's just on the phone. Stephen, Stephen's email is there, Ninja. Email him the link. Okay. Can you do that? Okay.
Yes.
She'll email you the link, Stephen, so you can chime back in and you can say hello in the chat if you want. Okay.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate your calling in and testing the phone for us. We just got it fixed. We finally figured out the problem, and they didn't do it right, and it was their problem really, but now it's working good. So we're good to go. And thank you, Stephen. We'll talk soon, brother.
Okay.
Peace and love.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. All right. Let's see if we can back out of here now. Ninja, are you there? Okay, Ninja's. Are you there? I hear you, but we have to back out of this.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm gonna, yeah. So you do it on your end, I'll do it on my end, and I'm gonna hang up on Stevens, and I think that's all you have to do, and then you go to the other one.
Okay.
Are you there? You there?
Yes. I was waiting for it to. It took a couple of seconds.
Yeah, all you have to do is hang up on that combination line. If you just hang up, then it's going to default back to what we had. Okay, I think that's how it's working.
It ended when you hung up. I just had to switch back and resume the other call.
Okay, so let's go to a break. I've got to fix my dandelion tea real quick. It's already brewing. And then when we get back, because we did with Stephen here a special call in, and it was really great because we hadn't done this in a long time, and it was years ago when I interviewed him as well. I'm going to go right to the read because I'm having maybe I've got fog syndrome. I'm not sure with my throat because it's a little different. And but I want to read some of Barnabas. That's the highlight. So we'll go right to that. Excuse me, right to that. For I don't have a voice, and then we'll go from there. Okay. If somebody else wants to call in, that's fine as well. But let's hear a little bit of Barnabas first, and then we'll cap it off. We'll open the line again at the end. Okay. So let's take a good break if we can, and we'll be right back with a little bit more of what they didn't want you to know. But we tell right here, and so does Stephen Jacobson, a great friend and a real American if there ever was one. So consider your support. He does it on a song and winging a prayer as well, ladies and gentlemen. You know, like I said, we don't make money doing this. We we get a lot of persecution doing this type of work, and just enough to keep on going another day. So thank you for all of that, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Forbidden History Live, the series on Ask Desert Owl and the Original Thought Transliteration Project. Ladies and gentlemen, good to have you. And that was a great opportunity to talk to my longtime friend, Stephen Jacobson. Amazing work that he's done. If you had not heard the series yet, then do check out mindcontrolingamerica.com. We put graphics to his audio because the audio doesn't have graphics on a cassette tape back then. But if you go to our Forbidden History Archive on Odyssey.com, that's Odyssee, Odyssey.com, and look for Forbidden History Archive, 3 separate words, then you'll find the collection. Ninja will put it in there later on. We always put it in the description below as well. So after the program, but then you'll have the graphics, and that will even be better. But we encourage everybody to support his work. If you think it's worth a donation, then certainly help Stephen out because he's toughing it out. We all are, and but we're indebted to him for helping to create the greatest opener for a program on spirituality with what he's done. So yeah, we're getting old, and we're not as sharp as we used to be with our vocals and our ability to do things, but he's still swinging, and so are we. And we're the veterans from last century, like everybody coming in this earlier, these other generations, they're not even interviewing us, they don't even want to talk to us. And we've been here. We knew all the other veterans that are now long gone and passed away. And, used to have quite a circle of friends that were all researchers. We hung out with researchers and trying to figure out this beast system that we've got. And that was a long time ago, and we're still here, and we want to give our energy and give our knowledge to the younger generation. We want to pass it on, and it's like I've been trying to get an interview from all these different YouTubers and what have you, and you can't even get them by phone. You can't even, or you email them, and they never. And they're wrong on their perceptions. They don't really understand the political science. They don't understand the mind control game, and they think they're going to figure it out themselves. And then so it's really frustrating. But it's the way they are filtering everything, as well with the social media. It's near impossible now to I go to other channels talking about the censoring. I type comments on other people's channels and try to have a conversation, and all of mine are deleted, with exceptions. There are exceptions, but I type a whole paragraph and say stop by our channel, and also check out what we're doing, and then it's gone. Bloop, it's gone. Once I save it, boom, it's gone. I go back, I close it out, I open it up, it's gone. And so they won't even let us connect with each other. you know there's they've really done it. When we used to use the chat and the comment below to meet new friends and to talk on the side, you can't even do that now. you know so it's really frustrating. And people don't even put their email in the back office. They don't put their email on the about page. So how in the world can you connect with people? Everybody, we have more communication devices than any time in history, and and people don't talk to each other anymore. You're not on my list. You're not on my friends list. I've got 3 friends, and that's it. And it's really amazing what they've done with us. This communist system. It's a stealth communist system because they got everybody to think they're free and they're on a plantation, and they are the plantation. They're that's the original word for plantation. It was those people they brought over here to cut the trees and to build the roads and to create the civilization. They were the plantations. That's the original definition. It wasn't a place where you grow cotton. And so we were planted here in order to serve them, to develop the society and the infrastructure as time went on. Enough of that. Now we're going to do a sample reading from the Gospel of Barnabas, because it was like every time I think I've got all the lost writings that I could possibly ever find out there. I got stuff that people have not even heard of. And some from Ethiopia, some from the wealthy. They own castles and they got the books on their shelf, and they're in collections and things like that. Um, like the Woodbrook series, I've got like 5 volumes with other lost writings. But here I got the Gospel of Barnabas, and I didn't even remember. I thought, I looked through all my books, I didn't find it when I heard about it, and it turns out that it was another gospel that I had not um, been privy to, and so I got it on a PDF. I found the document, and I've printed it out, and I'm reading it every morning when I get up, and I'm absolutely astounded because it's big. It's 300, or it's about 230, let's say, approximate pages, 230 pages. I'm only on page 30 something, and I'm only 10% of the way through the book, and it's got so much more content. It'll confirm as I go through it here that this is a source that was not filtered by the Vatican priesthood, and it's so powerful. And so I don't even know if we have time to publish it anymore. All this material I'm trying to get out, but we'll give it a shot. I'll see, but we'll do it audio. We'll do, the read here, and I'll share it with you. The problem is that people, because they don't collect lost writings, they're not been studying words and etymology and like I have all my life, and therefore I can size up, these problems. Hang on. These problems with translation. In other words, people want to throw out the baby with the bathwater because something ain't right about a couple of the verses within a book, and therefore think the whole thing is a fraud or something when that's not the case. You have to just simply know that priesthoods have adulterated everything, and therefore there is no pure scripture. Even the most ancient copies have been adulterated, and they destroyed the original form. The original form, not the original copy, but the original copy was used to make original duplicates. And so all of these duplicates were gathered, and like the Diatessaron is a good example of the harmonization of Matthew, Mark, and Luke in one gospel. It was called the Diatessaron. And that was the Bible of its day, because they couldn't afford to do 3 different versions, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and so they do it in a splice and put it all on one gospel. And gospel is not the right word. Anyway, we bring it on here and we help you to see it, and I'll point as we go through here to certain things. Okay, so we're in the sample read is starting in chapter 17. In this chapter is clearly perceived the well, these intros are really poorly done, and if I redo this, I'm going to do a better job on that. I'll just go right to the text. When Yeshua had said this, Philip answered. Let me back up. I'll do the paragraph that leads into it. Tell me, I pray you, if you should give your money into the bank to a publican, that's a tax collector, yeah, and he should give unto you 10-fold and 20-fold, would you not give to such a man and a shan everything that you had? But I say unto you, verily, it is true throughout all time. That's verily. It's a code for that is true throughout all time, that whatsoever you shall forgive and forsake for the love of the Elohim, you will receive it back 100-fold, and life at everlasting at the end. See then how much you ought to be content to serve the great Elohim. When Yeshua had said this, Philip answered, we are contented to serve the great Elohim, but the original word is Zulufhaim. Elohim comes out of Babylon, but I'm using middle ground because it's also that was converted into God, G-O-D, 3 letters, which is a dog backwards, and that's the priesthood, and God is the Pope. So we go to Elohim, but Zul of Haim is original, but I'll stay with Elohim. Most people have at least heard that term. So Philip answered, "We are contented to serve Elohim, but we desire, however, to know Elohim. For Isaiah, the prophet, said, breathed, verily, you are a hidden Elohim. And Elohim breathes to Moses, his Asherfan servant. I am that which I am." Yeshua answered Philip, "Elohim is perfect, Yaltsar, without which there is nothing good. Zulafhaim is a being without whom there is nothing that is. Elohim is a life without whom there is nothing that could live. So great that he fills up everything and every alone has no equal. He has no beginning, nor will he ever have an end. But to everything else has he given a beginning, and everything shall therefore be brought to an end." I just got to put this paper down here, excuse me. Okay. So he has no father nor mother. He has no sons nor brothers nor companions. And because Zulafhaim hath no body, therefore he does not eat, has no body, physical body, therefore he does not eat, does not sleep, does not die, does not walk, does not move about, but abides eternally without earthly similarities, for that he is incorporeal, uncompounded, immaterial, of the most basic primordial substance. Hang on a minute. Getting cold over here in Ohio. I had to switch out my shirt real quick here. Okay. Continuing. He is so perfect and good in that he loves perfection only, or the perfect state of excellence in behavior. He is so just that when he punishes or pardons, it cannot be challenged. In short, I say unto you, Philip, that here on earth you cannot see him nor know him perfectly, but in his royal domain you will see him forever, wherein consisteth all our happiness and illumination. Philip answered, Mother Star, what sayest thou? What do you say? It is surely written in Isaiah, that Yahweh is our Father. How then has he no sons? Yeshua answered, there are written in the prophets, many parables. For this reason you ought not to attend to the literal letter, but to the sense, the zense. For all the prophets that are 144 myriads, whom Zulaf Elohim has sent into the world, and have spoken in a great mystery, in a dark cloud. But after me will come the splendor of all the prophet, the pure ones, and shall shed light upon the darkness of all that the prophet had breathed, because he is the messenger of the Yahweh. And having said this, Yeshua sighed and breathes, have mercy on the true seed of light, Yahweh, who is the great Zulafim, the great mountain of endless fire, who is also the light of the sun in the metaphor, and look with pity upon the sovereign Abraham and his seed. See, Abraham is really the word sovereign, and when it's being used, it also refers to the great father. And so Abraham right here is not correct, because it's about the sovereign's seed, upon his seed, because it's about the totality of this creation, not just the line that came through that was called Israel, because they were banished. And so it's about the greater, and so it's really the sovereign. That's why it could mean one or the other. It was the name of the head of a tribe. It was Star Ram. Verei. Okay, so that's the problem with that. And upon his seed, have pity upon his seed. In other words, when we look outside and we see what's going on in this world, right? We see people and we see them suffering, ignorant on top of that, suffering, and they don't know why they're suffering. Like with the mind control, right? They don't know they're being poisoned through the water, poisoned through the food, poisoned through the air, poisoned by the boob tube, poisoned in school. Okay? So have pity upon the sovereign and his seed, in order that they may serve you with truth of heart. His truth seekers answered. Disciple is originally mata'im in the Aramaic, and that means truth seekers, so we should say it literally. His truth seekers answered, so be it, true Yahweh, our Elohim. Yeshua breathes, it is true throughout all time that I breathe before you. The shulfars, that's scribes, and lawyers have made void the pure shelter, that's original for law, of Elohim with their false prophecies. Contrary to the prophecies of the true prophet of Elohim, for this reason Elohim is wroth with the house of Utah. They keep using in the later thought, because Israel was banished and no more, didn't exist. And so it went back to Judah, because Jerusalem was the tribe of Judah, and therefore it's like going back to the point, or the light. Ninja, is our stream doing okay? I got a black screen with the circle. Hanging in there? Ninja, are you there? All right, thank you. Okay, so he is wroth with the house of Utah with his faithless generation. And so that's when they're talking right there. You see, Israel didn't exist anymore right there 2,000 years ago, because they were annihilated in 724 BC, almost 1,000 years prior. His truth seekers wept at these eshavors, these words, and breathed, have mercy, true and perfect Elohim. Have mercy upon the temple and upon the holy citadel, and give it not into contempt of the nations, that they despise not your holy covenant. Yeshua answered, so be it, great Zulafhaim, who is Elohim of our fathers. 18. Having said this, Yeshua breathes, you have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, that you may be my truth seekers. If then the world will hate you, you will be truly my truth seekers. For the world has ever been an enemy of the servants of Elohim. Remember the true anointed prophet, the prophets, that have been slain by the world. Even as in the time of Zuleal, Elijah. 10,000, 10 myriad, because 1,000, the word didn't exist back then, it's 10 myriad. It basically means without number. Of the profane were slain. Myriads of the profane were slain by Jezebel. Inasmuch that scarcely did poor Zuleal or Elijah escape. And 7,000 Zen, or sons of the profane, who were hidden by the captain of Ahab's host. Oh, imperfect flowing light in this world that knows not Elohim. Do not be afraid, therefore, for the hairs of your head are all numbered, so that they will not perish. Now that's a line that's not in there, so they will not perish. I didn't underline that earlier, but that's another one. So they will not perish. You must see and read it for yourself, the sparrows and other birds, whereof fall not one feather without the will of Elohim. Shall Elohim then have more care for the birds than of Ashan? I always translate man as Ashan. Man means criminal and sinner, and it's about the royal eyes. Ashan means royal eyes, that's us, above all other creation on this planet, for whose sake he has created everything. Is there any Ashan, perchance, who cares more for his shoes than for his own son? Assuredly not. Now, how much less ought you to think that Elohim would abandon you while taking care of the birds? And why speak I of the birds? A leaf of a tree falls not without the will of the great Elohim. Follow me, because I tell you the truth, that the world will greatly fear you if you will observe my Ashavors, my words. For if it feared not to have its wickedness revealed, it would not hate you, but it feareth to be revealed. Therefore it will hate you and persecute you. Take a note on this one, hang on. If you will see your Ashavors, your words scorned by the world, lay it not to heart, but consider how that Elohim is greater than you, who is in such wise scorned by the world, that his wisdom, Veshatom, is counted as madness. If Elohim endures the world with patience, and wherefore will you lay it to heart, true dust and clay of the earth? If in your patience, you will possess your soul, your shul. That's always been one of my favorite scriptures right there. In your patience, you possess your souls. Therefore, if one will give you a blow on one side of the face, offer him the other, that he may smite it. Again, do not render blind action for blind action, for so do all the worst animals, but render perfection for corruption, and create light for those that hate you. Fire is not extinguished with fire, but rather with Volsar, water. Even so I breathe unto you that you will not overcome corruption with corruption, but rather with perfection of light. You must see and read it for yourself. Elohim, who causes the sun to come up upon the perfect and the corrupt, and likewise the rain, the rayon. So ought you to be perfect in all things, for it is written in the pure shelter law, be pure, for I your Elohim am pure. Be ye pure, for I am pure. Be ye separate, for I am separate. And be ye perfect, for I am perfect. Verily I say unto you that, verily, it is true throughout all time that I breathe before you, that the Asher Fan, the serpent, studies to please his mother's star. And so he puts not on any garment that is displeasing to his mother's star, master. Your garments are your will and your love. Beware, then, not to will or to love a thing that is displeasing to Elohim, our Yahweh. Be ye sure that Elohim hateth the pomps and lusts of the world, and therefore you must hate the world. 19. Take a sip here. When Yeshua had said this, Kepha, falsely called Peter, answered, perfect seed planter, teacher. You must see and read it for yourself. We have left everything to follow you. And what will become of us? Yeshua answered, it is true throughout all time that I breathe before you. In the day of focusing light, in the day of judgment, will sit beside me. You will sit beside me, giving a declaration against the 12 tribes of Israel. And having breathed this, Yeshua sighed by breathing. True, perfect, and complete Yahweh. What thing is this? For I have chosen 12, and yet one of them is the adversary. It says devil here, but devil originally is adversary. The truth seekers were terribly grieved at this Eshavor word, whereupon he who writes this secretly questioned Yeshua with tears, this referring to Barnabas, by breathing, true and perfect mother star, will the serpent deceive me? And will I then become a reprobate? Yeshua answered, do not be terribly grieved, Barnabas. Vornava is more correct, but Barnabas, we'll use it. Do not be grieved, Barnabas, for those whom Elohim has chosen before the creation of the world will not perish. Stand up in the flowing light, for your title is written in the shofar, the book of life, the shofar of Avitrain. Yeshua comforted his truth seekers by breathing, "Do not be afraid, for the eye who will hate me, the mother's eye, is not grieved at my saying, because in him is not the travain feeling, the divine feeling." No D words in the original words. D for darkness, D for death, D for destruction, what they did. At his Eshavors, at the words, the chosen were comforted. Yeshua made his creation of light prayers, and his truth seekers breathe, "So be it." Great Zulafhaim, who is the Avohaim, Almighty and merciful. Having finished his devotions, Yeshua came down from the mountain with his truth seekers and met 10 lepers, who from afar off cried out, "Yeshua, Zan of Tavat, son of David, have mercy on us." Yeshua called them near to him and breathed unto them, What do you wish from me, true brothers?" They all cried, make us whole." Yeshua answered, "Ah, wretched that you are, have you so lost your reason for that you say, 'Give us health, make me whole'? Do you not me to be an Ashan, just like yourselves, a man just like you? Call unto our Elohim that has created you, and he that is the El Shaddai, the Almighty and merciful, and he will heal you." With tears, the lepers answered, "We know that you are an Ashan, just like us, but yet a holy one of Elohim, and a prophet of the Yavohaim, Yahweh. For this reason, create light, you, for us, unto Elohim, and he will heal us." Thereupon, the truth seekers created light before Yeshua, breathing, "Healer and sunrise, have mercy upon them." Then groaned Yeshua and created light before Elohim, the Yahweh, breathing, Yahweh Elohim, who is the Elohim, Almighty and merciful, have mercy to listen to the Eshavors of your Esharfan, servant, and for love of the sovereign, our great Father, and for the only true anointed Kevanun covenant, have mercy on the request of these Eshan and grant them wholeness and health. Whereupon Yeshua, having breathed this, turned himself to the lepers and breathed, "Go and show yourselves to the Konun, the priests, according to the pure shelter of the Elohim, law of God." The lepers departed, and as they went their way, they were cleansed. Whereupon one of them, seeing that he was healed, returned to find Yeshua, and he was an Ishmaelite. And having found Yeshua, he bowed himself, doing reverence unto him, and breathing, "It is true throughout all time, you art the pure one of Elohim." And with thanks he prayed him that he would receive him for an Asherfan, a servant. Yeshua answered, 10 have been cleansed. Where are the other 9? And he said to him that was cleansed, "I am not come to be served, but to serve. For this reason, go to your home and recount how much Elohim has done in you, in order that they may know the promises, the promise made, one promise, that his seed would be made like the stars of the sky. Know that the promise made to Abraham, the sovereign, and his Zan, his son, with the royal domain of Elohim has come. The cleansed leper departed, and having arrived in his own neighborhood, recounted how much Elohim, through Yeshua, had worked in him. Ninja, let's go to a break. I want to pace myself, and I want to do some more. So we're going to take an extended break, and we'll be right back with a little bit more of what are we getting here? Is that you Skyping me, Ninja? Okay, that's somebody else. Okay, so let's go to a break. And when we get back, we've got so much technology going on here. It's crazy. Huh? And I love the old technology, the words on the page. So glad you're tuned in, and we'll try to do one more segment, and then we'll call it. We'll open it up for any calls, and also wrap it up at that point. Okay, so we'll be right back. Don't go away. All right, and welcome back to Forbidden History Live, the series on Ask Dezert-Owl and the Original Thought Transliteration Project. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here, and show you how much they don't want you to know. If you look down at the bottom left of your screen, where you've got the on and off button, then you've got the audio button, and right to the right of the audio button, you got the live feature. But notice that the live button doesn't have the red button live; it's gray, and that's your evidence right there that they're not promoting us on YouTube. Okay, and now we rely on you to share word of mouth with other people, because we don't get new people popping in, because if we're live, then it would be popping up on other platforms and channels, and for other people to come and listen, but that don't happen. And it's been a long time doing it, and little by little they kept throwing a wrench over here, throwing another wrench over here, and that's because this information, they don't really want you to have it, and they just kind of tolerate us here because they're having fun with their backdoor techniques, and virtually everything that is a feature that should help us in our broadcasting, they have manipulated it so that it doesn't help us and actually hinders us. So that's our dilemma, but that's okay. Everybody's got their job, and I've got mine, they've got theirs, and yeah, so we forgive them, and we know their end, and so we feel sorry for them, actually. Okay, so we're back to the read on this original gospel of Barnabas, major work. It's going to take me several weeks here to finish reading it, just a couple chapters a day. And wow, what a treasure. You see already there were, expansions on the scriptures you've been reading all your life, and the missing elements are in here. So let's continue and see if we can find a little bit more. And let me just take another sip of my drink here. Hang on. All right, 20. Yeshua went to the Sea of Galilee, having embarked in a ship. It should have been called boats. I think it was be a boat, not a ship. Embarked in a boat. Let me take that note here. B-O-A-T. I'm doing my rough draft as I've been reading it, so that if I do republish it, I can fix the problems with certain parts of it, with the wrong words. Okay, so Yeshua went to the Sea of Galilee, and having embarked in a boat, sailed to his community of the Nazarene. Now, there was no town or city of Nazareth. It's the community of the Nazarene, which is corrupted into Nazarite. Okay, the Nazarite, but the Nazarene. And then the first Nazarene was Adam. And then they kept the line going all the way from Adam, all this knowledge stolen from us about this. But, Samson was a Nazarene from birth. And yeah, so whereupon there was a great tempest in the sea, inasmuch that the boat was near unto sinking, and Yeshua was sleeping upon the prow of the ship. And then drew near, came over to him. Oh, by the way, when you read it in one of the other gospels, it says he was pretending to be asleep. He was testing them. So, you always wonder, how in the world could he be sleeping through something like that? He wasn't. He was pretending to be asleep to see how they would react. Then they came near to him as truth seekers, and they woke him up and said, "True Mother Star, have mercy, save yourself, for we are perishing." And they were encompassed with great fear by reason of the great wind that was contrary to the roaring of the sea. So you see, here is the metaphor for when we fall into a dilemma or a challenge in life, right? We get the fear, we get afraid, and so he's testing them, and it's a picture of life. It don't matter what it is. If it's something, when you're serving the sovereign of the universe, and then you're falling into trepidation or fear, It's to deny the truth, because the truth is there's nothing to fear, because you're one with the sovereign. You're serving the sovereign, right? And by the way, Jennifer, I think you see where I put the response, okay, to your questioning. So Zulafhaim is God's name. So the Yavelhaim, and Yavelhaim means the great mountain of endless fire. That's what the sovereign, great father beyond this universe is referred to as. Um, you see the Germanic in there, or the original Aramaic in the Yavel. That was the affirmative, right? They say Yavel my hair, right? Yavel, but it means by the mountain of fire, by the mountain of fire. And so it's a metaphor for the sun, you see, because it's big and it's badder than all the other symbols, right? So the mountain is bigger and badder than any other symbol on earth, and so the sun is bigger and badder as well. And so the Yavel Haim, the Haim is the breath of the many. Haim, that you can feel it from deep within, the he, Haim. And so it's the royal eye that is breathing and creating the multiplication. So the Yavelhaim, who is the great Zulafhaim. Zulafhaim is therefore the active agent, and we know him as Yeshua, but in the grander scale as the solar sun, S-O-N-S-U-N, the same word. A sun is a sun is a sun, is a star. That's why when they had a boy, they said they had a son, because he was the star of the family. He was going to get the inheritance, the firstborn. And Yeshua is the first made in the universe. And he is the son in the metaphor. He's his breath. I mean, he's the first atom. So he constitutes all things. He is all things. He made all things. He is all things. And he is breath and spirit. And so Yavelhaim is, we could corrupt it into Yahweh, and Zulafhaim we could corrupt into Elohim. So he is Elohim, or Yahweh. So underneath Lord God, I'll do it again. Hope nobody types there yet. Okay, so Lord God, I'll do it again because it's offset. Okay. Okay, Yahweh Elohim is corrupted into Lord God. So original is the Yavelhaim, who is the great Zulafhaim, and that's corrupted into Yahweh Elohim, or Yahweh who is Elohim, and then it's corrupted into Lord God. Notice how it always gets fewer letters, right? They abbreviate, and that's where they do it outside the Vatican at what's called the College of Abbreviators, run by the Jesuit Jewish Curii. They put the cure in your eye, the mud in your eye, so you can't see. Slave. Okay. So continuing, now Yeshua was testing them, which we will all be tested, right, in the spiritual walk. Yeshua rose up and raising his eyes up towards the sun and breathes, "O true and perfect Elohim of the rest of the Eshavah, have mercy upon your Esharfan servants." Then when Yeshua had said this, suddenly the wind ceased and the sea became calm. For this reason, the fishermen feared breathing. And who is this that even the sea and the vena, the wind, obey him? Having arrived at the community of the Nazaré, the fishermen spread the word throughout the entire city and breathed that Yeshua had performed a great work, whereupon the house of where Yeshua was surrounded by many as dwelt within the city. And the shofars and lawyers, the scribes and lawyers, having presented themselves unto him, breathed, "We have heard how much you have worked in the sea and in Judea. Give us therefore some sign here in your own land." Yeshua answered, "This faithless generation seeks a sign, but it will not be given them, because no prophet is received in his own land." Take a note. In the time of Zuleal, Elijah, there were many widows, widows in Judah, but he was not sent to be nourished, save unto a widow of Shidon. Many were the lepers in the time of Elisha, in Judah. Nevertheless, only Naaman, the Assyrian, was cleansed. And the Assyrians were the surplanters that banished the 10 tribes, and then who moved in? Assyrians, Babylonian Assyrians, and they're the people today making war on our planet, pretending to be Israel, but are actually Ashkenazi Jews who go back to Babylonian Assyria. Then were the citizens enraged and seized him and carried him on to the top of a precipice to cast him down. But Yeshua walked right through the middle of them and departed from them. Yeshua went up to Capernaum, and as he drew near to the city, you must see and read it for yourself, that came out of the tombs one that was possessed of parasites, and in such wise that no chain could hold him. And he did great harm to the Ashan. And of course, these parasites were in the brain. They got up in the brain, and that's why it made these men go insane. They were eating pork. The demons cried out through his mouth. That's how they um, package it, because this idea of demons and devils and goblins and all that, they're made up by priesthoods. Okay, because everything that Yeshua made was perfect. It said that in every day of the creation, and it was good. It was perfect. It was Yaltsar in the original, Yaltsar, meaning the produce of a star. So where did where do these devils come from? Where do these demons come from? Read the original gospel. Okay, misnomered as Aquarian. Yeshua tells you right in there several times. Okay, and that no chains could bind him. The dark natures, that's demon, the dark natures cried out through his mouth, but it was the parasites that were doing it. "Oh, true and perfect, pure one of Elohim, why are you come before the time to trouble us?" And they prayed him that he would not cast them forth. And Yeshua asked them how many they were, and they answered, 6 myriads of 6 centaurs, or here the number being 666, which is the number of a star. And there's been a lot. They do so many reversals, and that's why I'm taking notes now to look at it further and to see how it opens up. And there's other scriptures in here relative to that. So when the disciples heard this, they were afraid and prayed Yeshua that he would depart. Then said Yeshua, "Where is your victory of light? It is necessary that the dark natures should depart, and not I." The dark natures therefore cried from within, we will come out, but permit us. And so here's a major problem, because see, the swine is where these men in the tombs got the parasites. And so, and this was a Greek community, not of Utah or ancient Israel, but they were Greeks, and they ate pork. And so so when we have the scripture here saying we will come out, but permit us to enter into those swine, what it was, he was telling them how they became ill, and that they became ill through eating the pork. And then once they learned that, they said, then let us run upon the swine and kill them. And he said, go ahead. And then they ran after those who were possessed with the parasites, pursued after the swine, and they ran over the edge of the cliff. And that's why when the men who were caretaking the pigs came out, saw what happened, they went into town and brought the owners of the pigs out to show them that all of their profits were now lost, because they were making a business with the pork, selling it. And so that's why we get the picture of them having the pigs destroyed. And okay, so this is the problem we had, because they put all this superstitious diatribe in our scriptures, and it removes from the original thought, which is based on natural reflection. It's obviously, when you know that there's no demon or devil flying through the air, you know and most people mix the terms devil, demon, Lucifer, with each other, and they couldn't define what these words mean at all. you know they just think it's all one thing. But they're, demonic was used when somebody had a mental condition. Oh, he has, because it's demon is lunacy, demon, the moon, lunacy, lunar. You see, it's of the mind, mental. And so the devil, is the original word, is adversary. So who's the adversary? Well, it's man. He's always the one kicking you in the teeth, lying to you, robbing you, hurting you, right? It's always flesh and blood, men, criminals, sinners. Okay? So they changed their words. That's the game. They changed our words. So we've got to be able to hear the other plausibilities, that we've been denied. Don't ask questions. Don't dare you ask questions. Oh no, this is King James, man. I mean, the guy, he was a saint all the way. Yeah. Okay. So okay, so we will. So they ran the swine off the cliff, and they were, because they were there feeding near to the sea, um, several hundred of them belonging to the Canaanites. Thereupon Yeshua said, "Depart and enter into the swine, and go after the swine," is what he meant. And with a roar, the demonic, or the men that were ill, ran after the swine. That's what it should mean, ran after. Let me take a note here. That's how much these writings have been messed with, And they ran after them and cast them headlong into the sea. I mean, come on, when you get sick, do you say you got a devil when you get sick? Or do you say you have a demon? You son of Lucifer? You know? So you got to see the superstition that they've laced within our shul trays. Everything's natural. Headlong into the sea. Then they fled to the city that fed the swine, and recounted all that had been brought to pass by Yeshua. Accordingly, the Ashan men of the city came forth, and found the owners of the pigs, is who that is, the owners. Let me take a note here. Of the city came forth and found Yeshua and the Ashan that was healed. The Ashan were filled with, these owners were filled with fear, and not only that, but they were sorry they lost all their profits. and prayed Yeshua that he would depart from out of their borders. They didn't want the news to spread that you shouldn't eat pork, or if you do, you better cook it real well. But the problem came from the pork, and Yeshua accordingly departed from them and went up into the parts of Tyre and Sidon. And it is true, a woman. Now here's another story that when the Syro-Phoenician woman, right, with the sick daughter. This is a more complete story. And so you'll see how this is an original source. And it is true. A woman of Canaan with her two sons, who had come forth out of her own country to find Yeshua, having therefore seen him come with his truth seekers, she cried out, Yeshua, Zan of Tavat, son of David, have mercy on my daughter, who is tormented with a dark nature. And here it says devil, but it may be mental condition. Taking a note. Yeah, those priests don't want us looking at them. Just look at devils and demons. Don't look at that priesthood. Don't look at those psychopaths. Don't look at those Ashkenazi Jews who are waging war on mankind and lying to us every day of the week. Yeshua did not answer her even a single word, because they were of the uncircumcised people. And the truth seekers were moved with pity and said, True and perfect Mother Star, Master, have pity on them. You must see and read it yourself how much they cry out and weep. Yeshua answered, I am not sent but to the people of Judah and the lost tribes of Israel. Take a note here. Then the Eshaphe, that's woman, the Eshaphe with her zans, that's went forth before Yeshua, weeping and breathing. True and perfect Zan of Tavat, son of David, have mercy on me. Yeshua answered, It is not good to take the bread from the children's hands and to give it to the dogs. And this said Yeshua by reason of their uncleanness, because they were of the uncircumcised people. The woman answered, True and perfect healer in sunrise, the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their mother star's table. Then was Yeshua seized with admiration at the Eshavor's words of the Eshaphe, woman, and breathed, True and perfect Eshaphe, woman, great is your victory of light. And having raised his hands to the sky towards the sun, he breathes before the great Zulafhaim, Elohim. And then he breathes, True and perfect Eshaphe, your daughter is freed. Go your way in the shalom of eternal peace. And the Eshaphe departed, and returning to her home, found her daughter, who was giving thanks to Zulafhaim. Wherefore the Eshaphe breathes, It is truth throughout all time. There is none other Elohim than the Elohim of Esharei. Whereupon all her relations join themselves unto the pure shelter, the law of Elohim, according to the law written in the book of Moeshan, Moses. The truth seekers questioned Yeshua on that day, breathing, True and perfect Mother Star, why didn't you make such answer to the woman? Why did you make such an answer to the woman, saying that they were dogs? See, so here again is another example, because you're going to get the explanation, and it's nowhere else to be found in any of the scriptures. And it's right here. We get the explanation. This is so beautiful. Okay, so why did you say that they were dogs? And Yeshua answered, okay, You're going to miss this? All right. Yeshua answered, "It is truth through all time that I breathe before you, that a dog is better than an uncircumcised Ashan." Then were the truth seekers sorrowful, saying, "Hard are these Ashavors, and who shall be able to receive them?" Yeshua answered, "If you consider, true and perfect, foolish ones, what a dog does, that has no reason other than for the service of his master, you will find my saying to be true. Tell me, does the dog guard the house of his master and expose his life against the robber? Yeah, assuredly. But what receives he? Many blows and injuries with a little bread, and yet he always shows to his master a joyful countenance? Is this true? True it is, perfect master, answered the truth seekers. Then said Yeshua, consider how much Elohim has given unto Ashan, and you will see how imperfect he is in not observing the Kavanun, covenant of Elohim made with the sovereign Abraham, his servant. Remember that which Tavat, David, said to Shaul, Saul, the royal Malacheh, king of Ashereuva, Israel, against Goliath, the Philistine. My sunrise, breathed Tavat, David. While your servant was keeping your servant's flock, there came a wolf, the bear, and the lion, and seized your servant's sheep, Zashaph. Whereupon your Asherphan servant went and slew them, rescuing the sheep, the Ashaph. And what is this uncircumcised one but like unto them? For this reason will your Asherphan servant go in the royal title of the Yavohaim, who is the great Zulafhaim of Ashereuva, Israel, the Yahweh Elohim of Israel, and will slay this unclean one that blasphemes the only true anointed people of the Zulafhaim, Elohim. Then said the truth seekers, tell us, true and perfect Mother Star, for what reason Ashan must needs be circumcised? Yeshua answered, let it suffice you that Elohim commanded it to the sovereign Abraham, breathing, Staram, Abraham, circumcise your foreskin and that of all your house, for this is a Kavanun, covenant, between me and you forever. And having said this, Yeshua sat near unto the mountain which they looked upon, and his truth seekers came to his side to listen to his Ashavors, and then said, and we'll leave that as the cliffhanger right there, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm losing my voice and it's about time to wrap anyway. If somebody wanted to call in, now's the time to call, 740-936-7720. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up. Ninja, are you back? Okay, good deal. And, oh, okay, very good. So, very good. Well, I'm glad we finally got back broadcasting here. We've had things technical happening and also things that we've just had to take care of on the side, and it's hard to do translations and everything else out at the same time. But we're trying to get back to the Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday routine here, and I think we're going to be able to do it. But that's generally when we're going to do it, unless we have to do some makeup, and we might do it on one of the other days. Okay, so really glad to be here and sharing with you. and you can pull that down, Sister Ninja. Okay. All right. Thank you. We're trying to share with you, what I've learned, and Ninja is a major part of it because I couldn't do it without her. To share with you the deeper insights into Aishavor's words and translations and the problems. I've been collecting the lost writings all my life, and it started with the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden. I just had a wish one day, reading scripture, laying on my couch reading scripture, and thought, gee, wouldn't it be great to have another letter by Paul, or another letter by one of the other greats of the past. And then all of a sudden the next week I found, or that week, it was really really quick, I was in the bookstore, and there it was on the shelf for $8. This collection of lost scripture. It was clearly lost scripture, and the letter Barnabas in there. I just finished reviewing that again, and it is so powerful. The Epistle of Barnabas. I mean, we're reading the Gospel of Barnabas right now, and the Epistle, which is another fantastic read. Well, I was thinking of reading it on here as well. But then all the other, Clement, First and Second Clement, Polycarp, Ignatius, all of these other greats, the followers of, and they're not in our New Testament. What's going on? You know? And thank you, Jennifer, for stopping by with us tonight. Okay, great to have you. And but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to share with you. I'm trying to share with you what's important to me, what I've learned over a lifetime. Started ancient history at age 14, so that's like about 54 years ago for me. But I'm not smart enough to figure all this stuff out when I reveal certain things about the way words are spelled, or different parts of the story or history. It's the anointing of truth the Great Father um, gave me when I climbed that mountain back when I was 20 years old, and I climbed to the top of Mount Whitney looking for a vision, on a vision quest, and I came off the mountain, and the words opened up to me. That's when it started. And then the truth about living pure, and being separate, a separate people, because um, the people of the world are in the corruption, and the people that are called out. Okay, not in the world, not of the world, but called out of the world, and therefore a separate people, and one that is unique, and have crucified their lives to this world, and therefore to the passions, and to the baser elements. Okay, come to the higher, that duality that we were talking about a bit ago. There's a lower world, and there's a higher world, but you can find it right here. The duality is here. One is visible, and we don't like what we see out there, right? But there is one that's invisible. I mean, nature is beautiful. Who can't deny the magnanimity of this creation of by the sovereign? But what the problem is people, because that's the serpent that is consuming everything, and the serpent has to die, and that's the vehicle, the conveyance. No, the body no different than a planet, no different than the cosmos itself. It is a construct that is temporary. That which has a beginning has an end, but our spirit is breathed from the infinite, so therefore our spirit has no end, and it has to go somewhere, and we have to be prepared, and we have to put on the light of Yeshua, and Yeshua's name is knowledge. Okay, so we have to put on the knowledge of who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are, and what are we going to do about it, and transcend by climbing the stair, one step at a time. The stairs are the stars, the stairs to the stars. Okay, and so we are all doing time, ladies and gentlemen. And for some of us, it's hard time. And we're never going to get over the pain. We just have to learn how to deal with it. And that's what we do right here when we can get on with this broadcast and share with all of you. So glad you tuned in. And don't forget, I'm Desert Owl telling you, if you want to know the future, then you simply need to learn, look towards the forbidden history, because it's all right here coming your way somewhere out there 7 days a week. Because it's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here, because somebody's got to do it. So do tell your friends about the broadcast, and that we're presenting some elements of our ancient past that you can't find anywhere else. It's the will of the Great Spirit and the Father, and but it's proved out through time. If you listen to enough of the programs, then you'll start to get it. And so hope to see you again. We'll look for Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so thank you for tuning in and being there, and all the best. We'll see you.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils, catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, a silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never